I have never seen a headlamp like this before, and my guess is you probably haven't either. This is the Forclaz HLD100 Dynovation headlamp from Decathlon. Now, I can't find this in the US, but I happened upon it on my last trip to France when I visited a Decathlon store. Normally this costs 16 euros in France, which is about $18, but I only paid 9 euros or 10 bucks for this thing. It is super lightweight, minimalistic, autonomous, and does it even require a battery? Come camping with me and let's find out.
Gear up and get outside.
All right, so I'm not gonna make you wait until the end of the video to see what's so special about this thing. This is a very unique flashlight or headlamp. Now it has this one very thin cord that you put around your head, but that's not the only purpose this cord serves. This is actually how you charge it. So does it have a battery in there? Technically, yes it does, but it's not a battery that you replace, nothing like disposable AAAs or anything, and it's not even a battery you recharge with USB. This is the way you recharge it right here. It uses a traction wheel in there, is what they call it. There's a little stainless steel motor that turns as you pull this out and let it go back in. And they say about 1 minute of doing this will give you about 5 minutes of illumination. It has a red light and it has a white light. The white light is only 15 lumens at max, whereas that red light is only about 2 lumens. Not super bright, but it is sufficient to find what you need to find in your tent and to do the basic things around camp when you're backpacking. For procrastinators that don't remember to charge their batteries, and for lightweight guys that don't want to carry batteries, this could be a very interesting option. Look at that. That's how you charge it. Now, some of you aren't going to want to sit around camp and do this all day, but I surmise that you shouldn't do it all day. The reason I surmise that you should not do this for too long is because they say the battery only has a maximum of 10 minutes of capacity. And if you're only supposed to charge it for 1 minute in order to get 5 minutes of life, then I suspect that 2 minutes should fully charge it, and if you do it too much, you could be overcharging that battery. I don't know how sophisticated the electronics are that they built into this. I'm guessing it's pretty simple, but it is a clever design, and I'm curious to see how it works. This is my first time using this. I'll be using it tonight. I'm gonna try to make this my primary and only headlamp, although I did bring a backup in case it flops. But what a clever little idea, huh? You've seen the flashlights with a crank and things. I don't know that I've seen that on a headlamp, but this is a headlamp equivalent. I just find that very, very interesting. Very simple to use. There's only one button here. You push it once to turn the red light on, again to turn the white light on, and again to turn it off. That's it. 3 simple modes, that's all you need. It has a pretty ergonomic little plastic handle here for your finger that makes it easy to pull. And then that cord extends that far. What is that? Almost 2 feet, I'd say. About 18, 20 inches, something like that. Maybe it's 2 feet. Yeah, pretty close. If you can see that, yeah, you can see that motor spinning. So this is not a light, that is your white light, that is your red light. This also acts as your headband. Check that baby out. Although it's not gonna help me spot a cougar creeping on me at night on these cliffs. No way. All right, let me use this thing tonight and I'll report back tomorrow how it goes. Good night. And it says it can illuminate about 20 meters. I don't know if you can see that, but or 20 or 25, maybe it was 25 yards, 20 yards. I'll look it up. I'd say that's about accurate. That creek is probably about 25 yards away. And I can see it. It's not like full-on floodlight, but you can make out some stuff there. So I'm in the tent and it's nighttime. I thought I'd take a quick peek at what it looks like with the headlamp on. I'm gonna turn off my big light. There's the red light. And if you look around, it illuminates pretty well in here. I mean, I can see everything I need to see. My stuff. I also notice after you leave it on for a little bit, I don't know what the timer is, but then it will turn right off. It only goes from red to white if you do it successively like that, which is kind of a neat little feature. So there's white light. In here, does a fine job at illuminating everything I need to see. All right, folks, so I had quite a restful night's sleep. I very much enjoyed it. And I was also very impressed with this headlamp. I gotta say, it outperformed what I expected it to do. When I was doing some things last night and I was testing it out, I said I thought it should be able to shine out to 20 meters, but they actually only advertised 10 meters, which is about 10 yards or 30 feet. And it did that easily. But perhaps what I was most impressed with was how long it lasted. Now they say on their site to expect about 10 minutes when it's fully charged. That would be approximately 2 minutes of pulling on the cord to charge it up. Well, I probably had at least 2 minutes of charging it as I was dinking around with it over the last couple days, but I didn't charge it again after I stopped filming last night. And I was using it for all the regular stuff, getting ready for bed, getting situated in the tent, all that kind of thing. And it still hadn't gone dead. And I bet by then I had already been running it for 20 minutes or more. And then I just turned it on and let it sit there. And it went for an hour before I shut it off, just thinking, you know, what's the point at this point? And even now it's going, and I haven't charged it anymore other than extending it to put it on my head. So I am very impressed. However, that also brings me to one issue I read about on some reviews on Decathlon France's website, which is to say that some people didn't see that, or it didn't even charge or work the first time. What I suspect is that maybe there are some quality issues on the battery side from their supplier. Now, I have no idea, I have no affiliation with Decathlon or what they're doing, but just from my own experience working actually in a former manufacturing business where we had lithium-ion batteries, sometimes they can be finicky and it can be hard to get them right. And I imagine those small cells are especially that way. So perhaps you run the risk of getting a lemon. But I didn't, because it went an hour and a half and then some. This is probably one of the most unique outdoor products I have seen in a long time. It's very simple and it's very minimalistic, and I think that's why I love it. I like things that are no hassle. One thing that you should expect with this headlamp, however, is that the longer you use it, the more dim the light will become. So it won't be at full brightness all the time. As the battery weakens, the light dims to try to conserve some of that battery. I also love how small this thing is. It only weighs 60 grams or about 1.2 ounces. There are lighter headlamps out there, but that's not bad. And especially considering you don't need to carry or rely on any kind of external battery pack to recharge it on the trail if you're on an extended hike. When I measured it, however, on my scale at home, it was 63 grams, so just a few grams off. It measures 6 centimeters by 3 centimeters by 3.3 centimeters. That's 2.4 by 1.2 by 1.3 inches. It is made up of polycarbonate plastic, and polycarbonate is a pretty durable plastic that usually takes a pretty good beating before it breaks. The motor inside is made of stainless steel. It has a lithium-ion battery. And then what's interesting about this very thin cord is that it's made of Dyneema. So Dyneema being a very popular high-end ultralight backpacking material that a lot of people love, that's what this cord is made of. However, despite the Dyneema cord, there are several reviews that report of that cord breaking. So it's very thin, so I suspect with all the in and out and the friction that produces, it probably will wear and it could break. So you gotta treat it a little bit carefully. The other complaint I read about was the battery not working after a short period of time. So again, this is my first time actually using it. I'll just have to wait and see if mine lasts a long time, or if that battery kind of craps out pretty quick. It is supposed to be IPX4 rated, which means it's got protection from kind of light rain. And given it's made up of polycarbonate, I think it'll hold up pretty well to light drops. And to protect that battery in the long term, you should also charge it up fully before you put it on the shelf or leave it in your gearbox for a couple of months. Anytime you're not going to be using it for a while, it's best if that battery is charged mostly, if not all the way full, to protect it from going completely dead and having a hard time being recharged. One bright side though, if they have a Decathlon near you, is that they do offer a 2-year warranty on this. So let's sum up with some pros and cons. Overall, I think this is a very clever design. It's a unique product, and that in itself makes it interesting. I love that there are no batteries required. You don't have to carry extra batteries. You don't have to charge any batteries. You don't have to think about that in advance. And you don't have to worry about it if it goes dead on the trail. You don't even need a battery bank to get it back to full. All you need is a couple of hands so you can do this. I like how simple and compact it is. I wish I had a couple, because this is the kind of thing I'd like to keep in my truck, I'd like to keep in my pack, and I'd like to have a few in places just for emergencies or backup, if not for regular use. Now, one concern or one potential con is that it's bright enough to see, however, it's not bright enough to be seen. So if you want a headlamp that makes it easy for you to be spotted, say you run at night and you're on the road and you want to be seen easily, this is not a very bright light. It will not be visible from very far away. and it's probably not the best option for you. But if you're not worried about being seen and you're only worried about getting stuff done around camp, in my opinion, it's bright enough. Some of the cons, as I mentioned, are that cord might be a weak point. If only it were just a little bit thicker, perhaps they could avoid some of them breaking. That hasn't been my experience, but it has been for some others. Same on the battery. It seems like they may have some reliability or quality issues on the battery side, so just be aware of that going into it. But again, that hasn't been my experience. It is heavier than some other ultralight headlamps, but not by much, and the fact that it dims when the battery gets weaker might be annoying to some. The other downside is if you're a runner or a vigorous hiker, it's probably not going to stay on your head very well under high impact. But one workaround I found is if I'm wearing a hat and put it on the hat, it seems to be fine. Well, I was pretty stoked about this product. It's super interesting. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And then if you want to check out some other cool camping gear I found in France, go check out this video. I also invite you to sign up to receive our email newsletter. There will be a link in the description in the comment below. I promise I won't send you tons of emails, and it's really just me going on deep dives or rants or giving you more bits about the gear I review, the things that we test, and some of the best content we're trying to create over at Outdoor Empire. Now gear up and get outside.